Welcome to my early review of The Boys Season 2, Episode 8, the finale. Once more, thank you so much, Amazon Prime, for allowing me the privilege of getting early screeners for this, and I cannot give you any spoilers, they are under embargo, so without any further ado, let's talk about it. So right at the beginning of this episode, and spoilers for episode 7 by the way, so watch that before watching this, the boys are ready for war after what happened at the Congress meeting with everyone's heads just popping up. Frenchie, Butcher, Mother's Milk, Kimiko, they are ready, but Starlight and Huey are kind of trying to talk them out of it. They're kind of trying to make everyone think rationally, and they actually go to Maeve to try and get her to testify. But Maeve has had enough. She's just done with this all. She has given up, and so she tells them to go fuck themselves, quite literally. But the plan changes for Butcher once Becca comes in after what happened with Ryan last week, and that is only the premise of this episode, because Amazon has never been so tight as they are being with this episode, and rightfully so. This episode constantly had me white-knuckled. I was constantly sweating. Every time a scene came on, it went in a completely different direction than I expected. This episode is filled with character moments, it's filled with tension, with drama. It brings all the characters together, much like a very well-put finale should do, and this one does it. I love so many moments in this episode, and I can only talk about very few of them. One of the ones I love is when Butcher is talking to Becca, trying to calm him down about the situation and whatnot, and then you just have the boys looking at them all smiling, and they've never seen Butcher like this, and it's great seeing everyone meeting Becca for the first time, and everyone knows so much about her, so you can tell how much Butcher loves her genuinely, and it's great relationships and dynamics like that the boys has always been good at exploring, and it does that in this episode, and it also does that on the other side of the spectrum with Ryan, Homelander, and Stormfront. They take her to this like Comic-Con Vought convention, and Ryan is so not used to having people around, he flips out, and in that moment, and throughout this episode even, you can see there's a genuine love from Homelander towards Ryan, which we have seen throughout the season. It's a very twisted, a very wrong kind of love. It's a way only he knows how to love someone, but he does genuinely care about this kid in his own way, and I think it's great to see that. But you also have that Stormfront shadow lingering all over them. There's a very interesting meeting with Stan Edgar and the leader of the Church of the Collective. I always forget his name, but his initials are AA. Both names start with an A. The name is right here. It's a very interesting meeting about A-Train and the Deep. And again, it goes back to what I just said about certain directions that you think certain scenes are going, they take the complete opposite. Apart from that, there's barely anything I cannot mention to you in this. The final few scenes of this episode are extremely gripping. They are extremely intense. They are exhilarating at the same time to watch and see how it all comes together. There are certain things in this episode that I cannot wait for people to see, especially Elsa, who has been commenting on all of my reviews so far, and I love having conversations down there in the comments. And we talked about theories coming to the finale, and I quite like a certain execution of something in this episode, and I can see the promise of how they handled it going forward. There are certain things, however, at the same time, that I thought were not wasted of potential. That seems too strong a term, but I could see more interesting directions that they could have gone. Nevertheless, the positions in which this show puts their characters at the end of it compared to where they were in the beginning is extremely gratifying. They're not the same people they were in the beginning. No one is. Butcher isn't, especially with the arc that he has come throughout the season, and his last few moments are heart-wrenching. And Butcher also has one of the most wholesome quotes that I think every single one of us should take on through our lives with us and spread throughout the world, and that is the life lesson of don't be a cunt. Homelander as well. I love the last few moments we have with Homelander because the dynamic within the Seven is completely shifted now, and it's going to be extremely interesting and captivating to watch in season 3. Seeing who now has the upper hand on this game, let's call it. And the boys as well, the dynamic is completely different, especially with Huey, who in the last scene makes a brave step forward. But I am very scared for this man right now, especially because there's something in this final episode that they explain how it is happening, but they don't explain the motivation behind it or the way it works. So again, I cannot wait to see season 3. This is the type of show that even in its season finale, it closes up all the storylines and finishes everything up, closes it like a good book, but leaves a lot open for the future, introduces what should be the main storyline come season 3. One issue with this episode, however, is that I love a certain fight scene in this episode because of who is involved in that fight scene. However, it brings back my biggest issue from season 1, which was the boys needs to get better at shooting fight scenes, at letting us, the audience, see the choreography behind it, because this wasn't like the most staged fight or anything. It was just a all-out brawl, but they need to get better at shooting it. They need us to let see these people who supposedly are great fighters actually fighting and using fighting tactics like martial arts and whatnot. And I'm constantly disappointed. I did notice throughout the season that the boys didn't bet so much on hand-to-hand combat, which was nice to see. And even when they did it, sometimes it worked out just fine. This one in the finale, however, I enjoyed what it was story-wise, I enjoyed what it was in terms of drama, and I enjoyed who was involved in that fight. I just didn't enjoy how it was shot, unfortunately. So those are my spoiler-free thoughts on the finale of The Boys. Butcher, Homelander, Huey, and someone else who I can't mention are the show stealers, and I know that feels like too many characters, but those are the show stealers of the finale. Next week, when the finale comes out for everyone to see, I will have a spoiler review for the entire season and finally grade it, and after that, I will finally review season 1, because I just never reviewed season 1 when it came out last year. So thank you so much everyone for joining me in this journey throughout The Boys season 2. Thank you once again Amazon Prime UK for allowing me the privilege to cover this early. And after those reviews, The Boys content might not be over on this channel, so stay tuned for that as well, and stay tuned for all the reviews I have coming for movies, TV shows, and of course I am now covering LFF, the London Film Festival, in this year, so I can't wait to bring you all those reviews of the festival films. So until the next video, please do stay beautiful, stay geeky, and don't forget to please subscribe, like, and share, because it really helps me and the channel out, but most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.